Hello everyone. This video is about the SQL having clause. We're going to explore how to use it to filter group data in SQL. So let's get started. Before diving into the having clause, let's quickly review the group by clause. The group by clause consolidates rows into summary rows. It's used with aggregate functions like count, sum, and AVG. It groups rows that have the same values in specified columns. Here is an example. We select the department, the count of employee ID as employee count, and the average of salary as average salary from the employees table. Then we group by department. Now let's introduce the having clause. Having is a clause that filters the results of a group based on a specified condition on the grouped or aggregated data. Here are some key points about the having clause. It filters groups, not individual rows. It applies after group by aggregation. It can use aggregate functions and conditions and is similar to where, but it is designed for group data. It is positioned after the group by clause and precedes the order by clause. The having clause cannot be used without group by, and is applied before limit or offset clauses. Now let's understand the syntax of the having clause. First, you select the column names and apply aggregate functions on the column names. Then specify the table name in the from clause. Optionally, you can use the where clause to filter rows. Next, use the group by clause to group data based on the specified column names. Then, specify the aggregate condition using the having clause to filter the groups. Finally, you can order the results by specifying the column names. Here's the SQL query execution order. First, from is executed, which specifies the tables to query. Then where filters individual rows. Next, group by groups the filtered rows. After that, having filters the groups, and then select returns the final columns. Finally, order by sorts the results. A key difference between where and having is that where filters before grouping, while having filters after grouping. Now let's explore how to use having with aggregate functions. Here's an example to find departments with more than 5 employees. Select the department and the count of employee ID as employee count from the employees table. Group the results by department. Then, use the having clause to filter departments with an employee count greater than 5. Another example is to find product categories with an average price greater than $100. Select the category and the average price as average price from the products table. Group the results by category. Then, use the having clause to filter categories with an average price greater than $100. Here are some common aggregate functions used with having. Count counts the number of rows in a group. Sum calculates the sum of values in a group. AVG calculates the average of values in a group. MIN finds the minimum value in a group. Max finds the maximum value in a group. And group concat concatenates values from group rows. Let's understand the key differences between the having and where clauses. The where clause filters individual rows before grouping, while the having clause filters groups after the group by clause is applied. Where cannot use aggregate functions, whereas having can use aggregate functions. Where comes before group by, and having comes after group by. Where can be used without group by, but having requires the group by clause. Here is an example of a where clause usage. Select the department and the average of salary as average salary from the employees table. Filter the results using the where clause to only include employees hired on or after January 1, 2020. Finally, group the results by department. In this having clause example, select the department and the average of salary as average salary from the employees table. Group the results by department, and then use the having clause to filter results where the average salary is greater than $50,000. Let's learn about complex having conditions. Here's an example of using and with having. Select the category, the count of product ID as product count, and the average of price as average price from the products table. Group the results by category. Then, use the having clause with the and operator to filter categories where the product count is greater than 10 and the average price is less than 50. Here's an example of using or with having. Select the department, the count of employee ID as employee count, and the sum of salary as total salary from the employees table. Group the results by department. Then, use the having clause with the or operator to filter departments where the employee count is greater than 15 or the total salary is greater than 500,000. You can combine multiple conditions in the having clause using logical operators. And requires that all conditions must be true. Or requires that at least one condition must be true, and not negates a condition. Some advanced having techniques include combining multiple aggregate functions, using subqueries within having, comparing aggregates to other aggregates, using case expressions in aggregates, and filtering based on calculated columns. Let's see how to use having with subqueries. Here's an example of comparing department average salary to the average of all groups. Select the department and the average of salary as average department salary from the employees table. Group the results by department. Then, use the having clause to filter results where the average salary is greater than the average salary from all employees. Having clauses can include subqueries that return a single value for comparison, return a list of values for IN conditions, compare to another aggregate value, or calculate dynamic thresholds. Subqueries and having clauses can impact performance, especially with large datasets. Consider using CTEs, which stands for Common Table Expressions, or derived tables for complex scenarios. Here's another example. This time we're finding groups with counts above the average. Select the store ID and the count of order ID as order count from the orders table. Group the results by store ID. Then, use the having clause to filter results where the count of order ID is greater than the average order count from all stores. Let's summarize what we have learned and explore some best practices. First, always filter individual rows with where before grouping. This improves performance by reducing the dataset before aggregation. Second, avoid overuse of subqueries. Prefer CTEs or derived tables for complex aggregations rather than nested subqueries in having clauses for better readability. And third, include aliases. Always alias aggregated columns for clarity, especially when referencing them in having conditions or subsequent queries. Here are the key takeaways. Having filters group data, while where filters individual rows. Having allows the use of aggregate functions in filter conditions. Having must be used with group by and comes after it in the query. Complex conditions can use logical operators in subqueries. Here are some related topics to explore next: common table expressions, window functions, query optimization, and advanced grouping. That concludes this video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.